Hi guys, I'm here in my bathroom and I'm going to try and cut my hair. Now I've done this before, but it's time again, it's fall, and I know this is not a look. But anyway, I'm going to cut this into a bobbish kind of hairdo. So what I've done is I've taken sections, the front here, and I've already cut this, and I've put a tight rubber band on it, but you got to do it tight. And then I cut it, and I cut it this way, up a little bit into the hair, so you're going to have the ends a little bit so they're not so straight across. And it depends on how you want to wear this. Now I want to wear this a little bit swept over to the side. So, and under here I have my bangs. I just got those out of the way. These are my bangs. So that section I've already cut. Now I want to cut probably a good 3 inches off my hair, because what I do, I don't know where to put this. What I do in the summer, I like to have my hair longer because I like to wear it in a bun. But in the winter, I like my hair around my neck. So, oh my gosh. So, sorry about the display. Anyway, so what I've done here, I've divided this from the crown here to behind my ear. I don't know if you can see that, hopefully you can. But again, I've taken it real taut, put a tight rubber band around it, and make sure that it's hanging straight down and not forward or backwards. So, and I did the same thing to the other side. And again, tight rubber band. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and hold it taut and hold it straight down. And I think I want to have the length to about here. You can always cut more off and redo the process. All right, that's just annoying. Not that this looks any better, but it's out of the way. You can always redo the process if you want to go shorter, but I would recommend going a little longer than too short. So, and if it doesn't work out, you can always go to the hairdresser. But I've always cut my own hair, and I'm still in the process of letting my gray grow out. But what I want to do is just around this front part, I want to put a few highlights just to blend the demarcation line in. But I'm starting off with cutting it first. So again, what I'm going to do, now this is all going to be straight. I'm going to hold it taut and measure how short I want it. I want it to be below my fingers and hold it really tight. And then once you have it tight, you can look at it and cut it the same way. Just cut into the hair. And the reason you want to hold it tight and taut is because you want it straight, but you don't want the ends so blunt that it's going to not look blended. So I'm going to cut about 3 inches off here, and I think that'll be enough. And the only reason I'm holding, if you have somebody to do it for you, they can just hold it down and cut it straight. But since I don't have anybody here but myself right now, and I want to get this done, just make sure it's in a straight line, but that the ends are, see how the ends are a little bit cut into? And you can always straighten it up a little bit. So anyway, that's the length I want it. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Hold it taut. And sometimes it takes a couple times to get it even, but do the best you can and cut your line on the bottom of your fingers where you're holding it. So I'm going to measure this. And since I'm right-handed, I need my right hand, so I'm just going to take my hand and slide that down. So that looks like it's even. It looks like it's even. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Cut up into it. Be careful you don't cut your fingers when you're doing this because you are cutting upwards. And I recommend you either go to Sally's or whatever hairdressing place you have around your house and get, doesn't have to be an expensive set of hair cutting shears. You don't want to use just a plain old pair of scissors because they're not usually sharp enough. So do some nice nipping on the ends. And then we'll see if it's even. Nope, this one needs to be a little shorter. And like I said, you can always go a little shorter if you need to. Just take your time. So I'm going to cut about that much more off. Hold it taut and cut. And you may need to do it more than once, like I said. But I mean, I've been doing my hair for years. I don't always cut it this way, but right now I kind of want a bobbish kind of haircut, so that's what I'm doing. So let me check again. And it needs a little bit more right on the tip. And just keep going back and forth until you're happy with the length and you're happy that it's even. Okay, that looks pretty good. You can always slide this down a little bit if that's easier, just to check your length. And it looks like it still needs a little bit more. So I'll go back in and do a little more. Okay, well, I'm happy with that. So that looks good. So I'm going to get this out of the way. And I'll just pin it up. I don't want to undo it yet because I have to blend the back in with it. So what I've done in the back here, I've gone straight down the back of my head, done it really taut, and put tight rubber bands in here again. So you want to make sure they're tight because it'll hold all the hair in. Then I'm going to bring this forward. I'm going to slide this down a little bit. Hopefully you can see this. And you want to keep it close to your neck. You don't want it up or down because then it'll not turn out right. So I'm going to slide this down a little bit, still hold it taut. Now this will loosen up here, that's okay, but it's still going to be the same length. So a little bit more. Now I can bring this forward. I can bring this forward, and this part is going to still stay tight up there. So this down here, I want to see how long I want it, and I'm going to say you can either make it even or a little bit. You can make it a little shorter if you like that kind of a look, or if you want it longer, you can do that. But sort of hold it up to this, make this taut, and I'm going to start cutting see, right around there. And again, you can either look in the mirror bring it forward and cut the same way. Now, if you have short hair, this is going to be kind of hard to do. You're going to have to get somebody else to cut it for you. But if you have longer hair, you can definitely do this. And by doing it this way, like I said, you're going to keep it from looking too blunt. And I'm just going to look in the mirror because it's easier for me. So I may need to cut that shorter, but I'm not sure. And yes, I want it shorter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut this because I still want to be able to put it in a ponytail in the back, a small one, but this is going to be too long. So I'm going to go and I'm going to cut this to the bottom of the rubber band and just keep snipping away at it. And this is why you need sharp scissors, because this back, you can also divide this back part into two pieces if your hair is really thick. And do two pieces like this. But for me, one is good. And just take your time and snip away until you get it to the length you want. And this process thins out the ends a little bit. So that they blend better. Okay, I think that's good. I think that'll be good. Now I'm going to take the other side and do the same thing. All right. So let's bring this, you want to keep it, again, you want to keep it straight. So I'm going to pull it down, keep it close to your neck. And then you can bring it forward. And I'm going to just eyeball it to match this side. So I'm going to start off here and see if that will be short enough, but I'll probably have to cut it twice. It's a matter of balancing side and side. And if you get it right the first time, yay you. But sometimes it takes a couple times. And then when you're all done with this process and you're happy with it, that's good. If you're not happy with it, you may have to enlist a friend just to cut off any stragglers. If you have straggly ends somewhere, because it's kind of hard to do in the mirror. But, and let's see. See, this one is still longer, but like I said, I'd rather do a little at a time. So I'm going to cut to the bottom of this rubber band like I did with the other one. So I'll be back when I get that done. Now this is if you want a all one length hairdo. I have another tutorial up somewhere where I layered my longer hair. If I think of it after I upload this, I'll try and link it in a card above. If not, it's in the playlist. Okay, I'm going to call that good. All right, so let's see what we came up with here. So you can take your rubber bands out. And take that out. Now you can cut this as short as you want, depending on what you want, but I don't want mine so short, but you can if you like the top short. But this is all I want. And let me get a brush. And we'll see what we came up with here. Now, after I wash this, you don't want to do this on real clean hair. It's better to do it when your hair's dirty because it's not so flyaway. But that looks good, looks even. And if not, you can always snip a little more if need be. In fact, right here, I see it's a little uneven. So I'm going to snip at that just a little bit. It's not real uneven, but a little bit. And again, I'm going to keep snipping angled up. Now be real careful you don't cut your fingers, because that happens even to professionals. All right. Then what I like to do, divide it in the middle and the back, and comb it forward. And see here, there's this little tip. I want to cut that off. And you're probably going to need a shower after this because you're going to have hair everywhere. Okay, that's that. Do the same with the other side. And it's a little uneven here. So I'm going to, again, put my fingers as my guide. My fingers are always my guide here. And I'm going to snip some of that. And there you have it. Now sometimes in the back, I don't know, I haven't looked in the back yet, you'll get a little point in the middle. And you can just have somebody snip that off for you, but I need to look in the mirror in order to see that. So there you go. And I need to still cut my bangs a little shorter. Now I wanted mine long enough here so that it'll still, when I curl it, it'll have a little bit of a something here. But I wanted it long enough that I could still put it behind my ear. And I can also still get it in a ponytail in the back. But I don't need to have it in a bun. But I'm just going to put my hair out of my way and I'm going to trim up my bangs because they're a little too long. Not much, but my bangs, I have to trim those every 2 or 3 weeks. And you want to make sure that you get all the longer hair out of there, or otherwise your bangs are going to keep getting thicker and thicker. And you don't really want that. So I usually start out with the middle and hold it taut. And I don't want, be careful, you don't want this and you don't want that. Unless you want your bangs layered, then you can cut it this way. But I just want my bangs pretty much one length because they're not very heavy and I don't want them too short. Again, using my fingers as a guide. Now I have a mirror in front of me that I'm using to cut. So I'm going to snip those off a little bit. Then I'm going to use a section of the middle as a guide. And again, cutting up. Always cutting up because otherwise you're going to, I'm repeating myself, your hair is going to be too blunt and it's not going to look good. So always use the previous section as a guide and do the same to the other side. And you want to have some clips or something to hold your hair out of the way. While you're cutting, especially if you have thick hair. You can't have all that hair everywhere. And one more little snip. And that's that. So there you have it. My new shorter haircut. Now what I want to do, and that'll be another video, I want to just put a few highlights just in the front and right here on the crown just to blend it in a little bit because I'm going to let the back grow in dark and just keep some highlights around my face, and I'm getting a lot of natural highlights from my gray hair. So there you have it. And that wasn't hard at all. So if you're not going out to the hairdresser and you want to cut your hair, it's an easy way to go. And I think it looks pretty good. What do you think? Leave me a comment below. And let me know if you try this, how it turned out for you. And maybe get some help if it's available. If not, I guess you'll have to tough it out and give it a try. But you might want to try starting off just trimming a little bit at a time until you get comfortable with it. I mean, I was a hairdresser for 30 years and typically this is not how I would have cut a client's hair, but when you're doing it on yourself you have to make some changes. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. I'll show you when I highlight it, and for now that's it. Okay, so this is it. This is my new shorter hairdo, and I did cut this a couple weeks ago, but I just haven't styled it, so I just did a little curling iron and easy peasy. So a free haircut, and it's not difficult. And if you can enlist a friend, or if you're brave enough, you could try it yourself. But this is how I cut my hair, and I never go to the salon. Now I want to do some highlights, but that's another video. So for now, that's all I have for you. I want to wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.